We're a bus.
I think I'll blame Walker's farm.
According to director John Krasinski, in the opening scene of the movie where he passes by Brody's Pizza, this is a nod to the character Chief Brody from the Jaws movie, directed by Steven Spielberg. Cool little nugget, wouldn't you say? Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of Movie Mistakes. And today we're going to show you a few of the mistakes that we found in A Quiet Place 2. And as usual, if you haven't seen the movie yet, this is your spoiler alert, so go ahead and check it out now and come on back. If not, thanks for hanging out. So for our opening mistake, we start at a baseball game, and the family and all the rest of the town are headed out because of a strange anomaly they see in the sky. So as Reagan tells her mom that she's going with Dad, keep an eye on this guy here with the glasses. Notice that he walks past Reagan, but then as the camera angle switches, he is now behind Mom on the other side of the car. Boy, he is trying to get more than his 15 minutes of fame, because look, there he is again, passing up Reagan one more time. So for mistake number 2, near the beginning of the movie, we got Reagan, Noah, and Mom coming out of the house with the baby. Keep in mind that Noah is about 15 years old during the shooting of this movie. But as we flash back to A Quiet Place Part 1, you can see that he is clearly a lot younger than he was in this movie. And yes, we are well aware that actors and actresses get older in between movies, but we're going to count this as a mistake nonetheless because he is so much bigger than he was in the first one. So for this mistake, during the middle of the night when everyone else is asleep, Reagan and Noah go into the furnace to have a private conversation. So what do you think is going to appear here? If you've seen the movie before, you should have some idea of what's going to pop up. No sweat if you can't guess it though. As Raven closes the hatch, you can see now that the radio appears out of nowhere. Maybe it was hidden somewhere else in the furnace and Noah brought it out front? I don't know, but it sounds like a mistake to me. So in this scene, there were plenty of mistakes on so many levels, but I'm going to point out just a couple. Number 1, we all know that Reagan can't hear. She's deaf, as illustrated here. So you can tell from that little snippet there when the monsters first attack that she is completely relying on her father to know what exactly is going on. She can't hear any of the yelling, any of the screaming, any of the cars crashing into one another. She doesn't know what is happening. That's because she cannot hear. So this is where the mistake of the movie comes in. You mean to tell me that we're going to believe that this girl who can't hear, she has no idea what's going on. She doesn't know if she's stepping on crunchy leaves or anything. She doesn't know if somebody's yelling at her, that she's going to take off on her own and be able to save the world. I mean, as noble as it may sound, it just makes no sense. Plot hole, we're calling this one. So for this mistake, it ties into the last one I just talked about. She can't hear anything. And you mean to tell me she's going to scream like this? Now we all just heard her let out a tiny scream, the dead body falls over, she falls backwards into the boxcar, and look just down at the other end, there is one of those creatures. You mean to tell me that the creature didn't hear her scream? This is exactly why I said it was a bad idea for her to venture out on her own. So not to harp on the same thing or quote unquote beat a dead horse, but notice in the scene here she takes a shot at the creature. The creature regroups, maybe it suffered a concussion, okay, but there's no way that thing didn't just charge at her. It would have came at her full blast. And look here, she cocks the shotgun, which creates even more noise. Seriously, I really enjoyed the movie, but these plot holes were just ridiculous. So as Emmett and Reagan are having an argument about returning back to her mom, notice that Emmett's hair is in his face, over his right eye more specifically. However, when we get a shot of the two from the side, we can see that his hair is no longer in his face anymore. I'm fairly certain that it had to be fixed in between takes, but we're counting that as a mistake. So this mistake here was kind of confusing to me. During the whole entire movie, Noah is freaked out about these creatures. He doesn't want anything to change, anybody to move, anybody to leave. He is freaked out that his mom is leaving right now. However, later on, after his mom leaves and the baby is downstairs, which he's not watching him by the way, he ventures out on his own. You see here he is exploring the warehouse after he was freaked out that his mom was leaving. He's been scared the whole entire movie, and he's just going to be brave enough to go out and search on his own. How do you know what's around there? And yet, just moments later, he comes up on a yellow curtain, looks inside, sees a dead body, freaks out, makes all kinds of noise, which draws out the creatures. Crazy. And he's still hurt, by the way. He's still hurt. This is crazy. So here we are later on in the movie, and Emmett and Reagan stumble upon a little girl who is by herself on the docks. And we know how Dave Chappelle feels about this.
The old baby on the corner trick, eh? Not gonna fall for that shit.
So just as Emmett gets closer and closer, the little girl pops up, puts something around his neck. He doesn't even struggle. He doesn't even fight. He doesn't even try to get it from around his neck, which again is so weird. Mistake, yep.
This was not good.
Staying in the same scene, Emmett is fighting to save himself and Reagan. He jumps into the water here. But notice in his right hand, while he's struggling, he's got a knife in his hand. Why wouldn't he just cut himself loose? I mean, the rope's not made of metal. I mean, it's not made of adamantium. Come on, dude, cut yourself free. This is exactly why we gotta chalk this one up to being a mistake. Come on, Emmett, you gotta be smarter than that. So when Emmett stabs the guy in the leg, which I thought actually was pretty cool, he jumps into the water here and notice that he's got his mouth open. He's kind of showing his teeth. He's cheesing a little bit, right? But just after Reagan saves him, he pulls her hearing aid out of his mouth. Now, I don't know if you all know, they do make waterproof hearing aids. Yes, they do. But the fact that Reagan's father Lee built that one out of makeshift hearing aids so that his daughter is able to hear, we all know that this one is not waterproof. There's no way it should be working after this. So for our final mistake, and trust me, we have more, just don't want this video to go on forever, notice that the car is in the shade here. Not a bad place to park it if you don't want it to be too hot. But as Emmett comes barreling around the corner with Reagan in tow, notice that the sunlight is all over this car. That is crazy that they couldn't get all this take done in one shot. Interesting. So, what did you guys think of A Quiet Place 2? I actually thought it was a pretty good movie. Let me know in the comment section below what you would rate it out of 1 to 10. Also, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell now. We'll keep you updated of all of our up and coming videos. Once more, my name is Lee, and thanks for hanging out with us here at Movie Mistakes, and we'll see you next time!